He grew up on the mean streets of Brooklyn and clawed his way to stardom as Hollywood's tough guy.
We walked into my office in Los Angeles, and it was like I thought a thunderstorm walked through the front door.
But now, Ray Sharkey's Hollywood success story has returned home to the Brooklyn streets as its greatest tragedy. Death of a tough guy. And the untold story of the honeymoon Jaws attack on the next Hard Copy.
Hard Copy, tonight at 6:30. You're watching Home TV, Channel 6.
Punishment for an Air Force general who called the president a draft dodger and a pot-smoking womanizer.
More questions tonight about the First Lady, her role in the White House, and the politics of image.
And growing suspicions about rats, mice, and a deadly virus that could become a national problem.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. The U.S. Air Force and President Clinton today had some words for the two-star general who, in uniform, personally and disrespectfully scorched President Clinton. The words, in effect, hasta la vista, General. The president approved a pay cut, a serious reprimand, and retirement for the general. But even this White House decision did not come easy, as National Security Correspondent David Martin explains.
General Harold Campbell is a decorated combat veteran who continued to serve despite disfiguring bone cancer. But last month at this Air Force Awards ceremony, he called his Commander-in-Chief Bill Clinton a draft dodger, gay lover, womanizer, and pot smoker. Other people have said that and worse about the president, but military officers are prohibited from making contemptuous remarks about their Commander-in-Chief. Today, General Campbell was given a letter of reprimand, docked $7,000 in pay, and told to retire by July 1st.
General Campbell has served his country honorably over a 32-year career. I am saddened by this event. However, General Campbell's conduct was wrong and cannot be tolerated. Speaking on behalf of the entire Air Force, we understand the absolute requirement for respect up and down the chain of command.
The president called the punishment, which was the maximum that could be handed out short of a court-martial, appropriate. But it was stiffer than he originally wanted. His first impulse had been to let Campbell off with a public apology. But after seeking advice from both the present chairman and the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he decided Campbell should not get off so lightly.
I thought, well, here's a guy who's served this country, and, so what if he doesn't like me and he doesn't know me from Adam's off ox, so, he's just repeating something he's heard. But for a general officer to say that about the commander-in-chief if that happened, is a very bad thing.
Campbell is said to be remorseful, and military officers, without exception, say he got what he deserved. The fact that the president was disposed to go so easy on him suggests that when it comes to the military, Bill Clinton still doesn't get it. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
It's no secret that President Clinton has been trying to boost his image and stop talk of White House indecision and disarray. And now it turns out Hillary Clinton is out doing some image boosting of her own. Correspondent Linda Douglas reports on the First Lady's new offensive.
Though health care was on her agenda, the First Lady's real business today was politics. It was straight from the Clinton campaign script. A small town in Vermont, a general store, and crowds of adoring fans.
I think she's a dynamic, fantastic woman.
Oh, I thought she was absolutely wonderful.
Away from Washington, the First Lady clearly felt liberated.
I feel like a real person again.
Mrs. Clinton is a master politician, both as a campaigner herself and as her husband's most influential advisor. But some Clinton aides complained privately her role as health care czar diluted her role as an advisor at a time when her husband was mired in political trouble. Today, the master politician was back, passing out presidential gifts, $1 million for Vermont to help displaced workers.
So I am delighted to be of assistance in announcing this grant to make it clear to Vermont that Washington cares about the people of Vermont.
In a speech about health care to Democratic governors, the First Lady resurrected a central theme of her husband's presidential campaign, that Americans must take responsibility for themselves. She said under the Clinton health plan, no one will be allowed to go without insurance.
We're going to tell individuals who think they can get by without coverage and end up in the emergency room or in the ICU and stick us with the bill that we're not going to let that go on any longer. Responsibility is at the root of what it means to be an American, and we're going to start insisting upon it being present once again in this country.
The First Lady revealed no new details of the health plan, nor did she talk about a timetable. Today was devoted to politicking because it is clear the future of health care reform depends on the political health of the Clinton administration. Linda Douglas, CBS News, Woodstock, Vermont.
At a formal White House news conference last night, President Clinton said the UN military strike against a Somali warlord and food profiteer was over, and he said it was a success. The president said General Mohammed Aidid's power base had been crippled, proving the credibility of peacekeeping missions around the world. That was the view from the White House. For a reality check on the ground in the capital city of Mogadishu, we go to CBS News correspondent Bob Simon.
UN commanders on the ground thought the president's judgment was right on.
Yesterday's operation was very successfully conducted. It was a tremendous victory.
All that's left is a bit of unfinished business, the arrest of General Aidid. Where is he anyway?
We, of course, have an effort going on to see if we can find where he is, and we'll let you know when we have him.
The objective was to disarm the Aidid faction, and a whole bunch of guns were found in his compound. The UN showed them off today. This is what the Somalis were showing off, bodies of the victims of all that fire from the sky. Some of those tow missiles appear to have blown some holes where they weren't supposed to. In this relief compound, for example, where a woman was killed.
This is proof that this is UN American doing right here. And I don't know if it was a mistake or not. In any case, it caused one life.
The command was incredulous.
We're currently investigating that, but I assure you that a tow missile is a weapon of precision.
Digfa Hospital took a hit in its operating room. How did that happen? Seems to be a mystery.
None of those missiles were fired at Digfa Hospital.
The UN fired off leaflets at Aidid's followers today, asking them to surrender their weapons and cooperate with the Blue Helmets. This was their answer. Loyalty to Aidid is in their genes. And Aidid's main power base is far from Mogadishu in the center of Somalia. That's where most of his fighters are. That's where his heavy weapons are. And UN troops have never even been there. And there's no reason for them to go. General Aidid is reliably reported to be right here in Mogadishu. Right?
I recognize that we could have a where's Elvis kind of thing for some time.
Yesterday's operation could mark the beginning of the end for General Aidid, or for the credibility of the United Nations in Somalia. Bob Simon, CBS News, Mogadishu.
American peacekeeping forces tonight are also moving into the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. A team of U.S. officers arrived today preparing the way for 300 American soldiers who will be part of a UN peacekeeping force. Its aim is to keep the Yugoslav conflict from spreading into a wider Balkan war. In Bosnia, shells were exploding right up until the noon deadline for a ceasefire. UN mediators are now urging Muslims to give up their fight for a single state and accept the division of Bosnia along lines dictated by the Serbs and Croats.
Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, chaos, turmoil, and scandal in the Japanese government.
And a Supreme Court ruling on schools puts new boundaries on the separation of church and state.
Hey, could you guys give the dog a B-A-T-H?
Milk's got a lot going for you.
Hey, Tommy, we're going to give Oscar a bath.
Carbohydrate for energy, but it's slim on calories.
Let's come on.
With magnesium for balance, riboflavin for agility, and protein for stamina.
Wow! Is he clean already?
Milk. It does a body good.
My daughter, the doctor. She always loved kids, which is why she became a pediatrician and a mom, and why she tells other moms to use antibacterial soaps, like Safeguard. With all these germs around, you need Safeguard.
Safeguard eliminates the germs regular soaps can't.
My daughter, the doctor. I know I didn't teach her everything about killing germs, but I sure taught her one thing.
Safeguard against germs.
Safeguard the ones you love.
In Tokyo today, the Japanese government collapsed in the midst of a major corruption scandal. It's another crisis for the ruling Liberal Democratic Party, and it comes just as Japan is getting ready to host President Clinton and his Western allies for an economic summit. Correspondent James Hattori reports.
Japanese Prime Minister Kiichi Miyazawa smiled for the cameras today as his scandal-tainted government collapsed around him. He's taking the fall in a party scuffle over political reform, which he publicly championed, then failed to deliver.
Political reform cannot be done by politicians. It's like asking a thief to come up with the idea of a security.
There were no smiles tonight as factions of Miyazawa's own Liberal Democratic Party joined with the opposition in a vote of no confidence. Rather than resign, Miyazawa dissolved the body, clearing the way for election of a caretaker government next month.
It's a chaos. So when we need the leadership of the political leader, we have none.
Leadership to deal with the Clinton administration, forging a new trade alliance, growing pressure on Japan to become a bigger international player, and the world's leaders gathering here next month for the G7 Economic Summit.
There may be some nice words and some concessions from the Japanese government.
There won't be any big new policy agreements, you think?
It's impossible.
All in the wake of a scandal involving a powerful Miyazawa crony with a safe full of gold and a mountain of unpaid taxes. But the bad news has been coming for years. A succession of leaders and wrongdoing finally splitting the party which has governed Japan for nearly 40 years. Miyazawa was the convenient target. His approval rating sank to just 9%. He's cowardly, irresolute, and indecisive, this man says. Tonight, Miyazawa apologized for his failure. Still, his days are numbered, leaving Japan to restore integrity to a political system many Japanese have dismissed as corrupt. James Hattori, CBS News, Tokyo.
Saddam Hussein is defying again UN inspectors, and that brought another warning today from the Security Council. The Council now threatens what it calls serious consequences unless Iraq finally obeys an order to hand over equipment used for chemical weapons. Iraq insists the equipment has peaceful uses.
A Palestinian state. Now from around the world, more CBS News. At the White House, President Clinton met King Hussein of Jordan. The king is still trying to repair the damage from the Gulf War when Jordan supported Iraq.
Also at the White House today, the president nominated Doris Meissner to head the U.S. Immigration Service and promised a crackdown on crime rings like the one caught smuggling Chinese immigrants into the country.
In Paris, a European Airbus claimed a new record for the longest nonstop flight, nearly 10,400 miles from New Zealand. It landed at the same airfield where Charles Lindbergh ended the first transatlantic flight in 1927.
In Austin, Texas, when they buried John Connally, they also buried what some say is evidence on whether Lee Harvey Oswald actually was the lone gunman in President Kennedy's assassination. The family declined to allow removal of bullet fragments that wounded Connally that day, but authorities say they may go to court to get permission to exhume the body.
And the Illinois National Guard is standing by as the Chicago Bulls go for their third straight NBA championship tonight. More than 1,000 people were arrested last year for rioting after the Bulls won their second title.
Stay here with us for much more CBS News, including concern that the lethal mystery illness of the Southwest could be moving from the prairie to the city.
This is a request from Oldsmobile to Honda. Please don't raise the price of your Accord DX anymore. Because every time you do, we have to change our Achieva commercials. So ixnay with the price increases. All this re-editing is getting expensive. It's your choice.
Everybody needs some money sometime. Everybody needs some cash somehow.
Hello?
Rita.
It's midnight.
I need $500 now.
I'll call Western Union.
Just call 1-800-CALL-CASH, and you can send money from home.
Sometimes it's now.
Western Union.
Oh, yeah.
The fastest way to send money.
I was worried I needed surgery for my hemorrhoids. I was itching, and the burning was so painful. But my doctor said they weren't serious. I didn't need surgery, and to use Preparation H. She specifically said Preparation H by name. That's what I trust, and that's what I'll use.
Preparation H.
trusted by millions to often help relieve the hemorrhoidal symptoms of itching, burning, and painful irritation for hours.
I feel great. I'm glad I trusted Preparation H.
Trust doctor-recommended Preparation H.
Any idea where your used car came from? Surely not from a junkyard. Nobody would sell a car that had been totaled. Don't be too sure. Watch 60 Minutes, Sunday.
Well, it's been a week now, and nobody's beaten the Pepsi challenge yet. The find the needle in the six-pack scare is going flat fast. A New York City man is among the latest, arrested today for faking a claim that his soft drink was contaminated. Of the more than 50 reports of Pepsi-Cola tampering in at least 23 states, not a single one has been confirmed.
The cause of the killer mystery illness that surfaced on the Big Navajo Reservation in the Southwest is no longer a mystery. But as correspondent John Blackstone reports, knowing what caused it is fueling concern about possible outbreaks around the nation.
Rats and mice everywhere are coming under new suspicion as health officials in New Mexico reported today. And now almost certain the killer virus has been spread by rodents.
As each day goes by, there's less and less doubt in any of the investigators' minds as to what we're dealing with.
Although this was called the mystery disease of the Southwest, people far away in cities across the nation may also have to be on the lookout for a new killer.
There are probably many rodents in many parts of the country and many parts of the world that may have their own viruses which have this potential.
We're loaded with rats in the United States throughout all major cities, and I know of very few agencies that have an active rat control program left anymore.
Rat control is among the public health programs that have suffered as government budgets have been cut. Once a priority, rat control is now near the bottom of the list in most cities. But more than ever, health officials have to be watching for new diseases.
Any disease emerging anywhere in the world can come to the United States overnight on a plane or on a ship and become our problem.
The disease in the Southwest comes from a family of viruses that first entered the United States on ships from Asia 40 years ago. It was never before known to cause such illness in humans. But since its emergence in the Southwest, health officials across the country have been looking back through records of unexplained deaths.
San Francisco's Department of Public Health has identified 3 cases that could be similar to the Navajo flu.
The mystery killer of the Four Corners region could go anywhere the rodents that carry it go, to all 4 corners of the country. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, how money, greed, and gold are wrecking a paradise from another time.
Until now, some thought the Cadillac Eldorado was out of reach. But change is coming on your terms. Because right now, you can lease an Eldorado for only $499 a month for 36 months with $1,500 down, making it the luxury coupe you'll want to drive first and every day thereafter. Eldorado, changing the way you think about American automobiles.
Norelco shaves incredibly close in exceptional comfort because Norelco's lift and cut system lifts the hair so when it's cut, it can drop below skin level without the blades touching your face. So with every shave, Norelco makes close comfortable.
There's a proven winner in mustards in a nationwide taste test. Best Foods Dijonnaise creamy mustard blend beat the leading mustard by 2 to 1.
Oh, nothing beats my Best Foods Dijonnaise.
Anna wants me to try something I've never tasted before.
It's the Kellogg's Muesli.
Don't you just love the way she talks?
The taste of the Kellogg's Muesli cereal is very surprising.
Hey, this is very surprising.
It's got plump raisins.
They are plump.
The flakes very crispy in the Kellogg's Muesli.
It's crispy.
The crunchy almonds, the brown sugar, and the yummy dates.
It's yummy. Surprise yourself with the fabulous taste of Kellogg's Mueslix.
No. Kellogg's Mueslix.
Turn to turn, thrill to thrill, flag to flag coverage of a NASCAR Classic. Live from Michigan International Speedway, the Michigan 400, Sunday.
For survivors of Hurricane Andrew, another reminder today, as if any were needed, that it is hurricane season once again all along the Atlantic and Gulf Coast. Already the first tropical storm system of 1993 is developing, churning things up in the Gulf of Mexico off the coast of Texas. Weather forecasters say the main threat so far is heavy rainfall. In case it develops into a hurricane, they already have a name picked out, Arlene.
There's new evidence tonight about which way the wind is blowing at the U.S. Supreme Court. As law correspondent Rita Braver reports, the High Court has again moved the line that separates church and state in the classroom.
It's been a long battle, and I'm happy that it's over, and I'm happy we got what we wanted.
The Zobrist family of Arizona made legal history today when the Supreme Court ruled that local school officials should have paid for a sign language interpreter for son James at a Roman Catholic high school.
It isn't a religious service at all. It's like a living, breathing hearing aid.
Under the law, local governments must provide education aids for handicapped students. The school board would have paid for an interpreter at a public high school, but said funding one at a religious school violated the constitutional separation between church and state.
The interpreter would be actively involved in the religious educational process.
But the Supreme Court sided with the Zobrist family, saying that since the government would have paid for the interpreter anyway, James and his parents could choose a religious school. The ruling could affect thousands of other disabled students who need personal aids, and some legal analysts predict it might have even broader impact, far beyond handicapped students.
This could lead to a system where a state provided each family with a child eligible for public schooling of a voucher worth $4,000 or $5,000, whatever the per capita expenditure was in that state for schooling, and permit the parents to decide where to use that voucher.
And it's the third time in recent weeks the Supreme Court has broadened religious rights, allowing churches to engage in animal sacrifice and requiring public schools to allow religious group meetings after hours.
It's hard to predict if the Supreme Court is on the verge of a religious revolution. Today's case was a close 5-4, with retiring Justice Byron White in the majority. But it's unknown how nominee Ruth Bader Ginsburg will vote on religious issues. Rita Braver, CBS News at the Supreme Court.
You may want to put a strange but true label on this, but in another ruling, the Supreme Court today said the rights of prisoners may include the right not to be exposed to secondhand tobacco smoke. The justices said a prisoner with a cellmate who smokes 5 packs a day could pursue a claim that he was subjected to cruel and unusual punishment forbidden by the U.S. Constitution.
You make me feel so young. You make me feel there are songs to be sung.
Introducing Fat-Free Promise Ultra. 0 fat with just 5 delicious calories a serving.
And every time I see you grin,
It's the first fat-free margarine. Definitely one of a kind.
you make me feel so young.
Regular or new Fat-Free Promise Ultra. Get heart smart.
Who has the advanced training and equipment to take care of the advanced technology on your GM vehicle? You know who. Mr. Goodwrench, the smart choice for your smart car.
I know what I like and don't like. I don't like irregularity. It slows me down. I don't like harsh chemical laxatives. I like natural. Like new smooth texture, regular flavored Metamucil. It's the only natural fiber with no sweeteners, no added flavors, as well as no grit. I don't like those. So it's easy to take, easy to get the extra fiber I need, and it works just the way I expect from Metamucil, to get the body up and running. I like that.
Metamucil, the natural choice for regularity.
Presenting the Ryobi Detail Sander. It gets into all those small, tight spaces where other sanders can't reach. And with special add-on accessories that also prepares surfaces for painting. Scrapes paint and adhesive off glass, wood, and metal. Even polishes and buffs to a brilliant finish. In fact, you can use the Ryobi Detail Sander any place your imagination takes you.
The Remington Microscreen shaves as close as a blade or your money back. 2 flexible screens let you shave whiskers below skin level. It's quick, smooth, comfortable. A great value. The Remington microscreen.
It's getting a lot of attention these days, the idea of a theme park where dinosaurs roam free just as they did millions of years ago. That, of course, is strictly a fantasy. But there are places on Earth where human beings roam free just as they did thousands of years ago. And it is no fantasy. However, Richard Threlkeld reports it could soon be just a memory.
It's right in the middle of Brazil, a tapestry of uplands and rivers and rainforest the size of Switzerland. Most of it still as pristine and unspoiled as it was when time began. But listen. They're cutting through the jungle, but it's not a bad thing, it's good. They're cutting a border around this land, marking it private property, no trespassing. The government and a private foundation are setting aside all of this as tribal land, the ancestral home of 500 Kayapo Indians. These people, they've lived off the land for thousands of years, fierce and proud and independent. The Kayapo have also been smart enough, politic enough, to try to strike a good deal with the white man, to lobby the government for a place of their own, and to protect their interests. It's a tough bargain.
But now the Kayapo are sort of being forced to collaborate in the ecological destruction of their territories just at the point when they finally get those territories recognized.
The Kayapo are sitting on a gold mine, literally. There's gold here. So the Kayapo have cut a deal with the miners for the money. And there are forests of mahogany, some of the most precious wood in the world. So the Kayapo have let the loggers in, too, for the money. And now, suddenly, the Kayapo are beginning to live like everybody else. They've got satellite TV, the big ghost, they call it, where they can see what civilized folks have. 20th century gadgets are popping up all over the village. Chief Pucateri is worried about that.
Moto, bicicleta, essas coisas.
Motorcycles, bicycles, these things, the people like them, and they are buying them, but I don't like it, he says. I just think about medicines, to buy medicines to help my people. The medicines for the tribal clinics. The government used to pay for all this, but now says it can't afford to and has withdrawn support. So the Kayapo have to find the money, and they bartered some logging rights for the use of an airplane to take the really sick to the hospital. And there are a lot more sick Kayapo these days, sick from malaria and pneumonia and tuberculosis, all the white man's illnesses. The mercury they use in the gold mining has fouled the streams, gotten into the food chain, and is now in the Kayapo's blood. The Kayapo are selling their mahogany, but are getting only about 1/10 of the world price, and mahogany is not much of a renewable resource. When these trees are all gone, there won't be any replacements. Now the Kayapo are having some second thoughts about this modern world.
E depois, quando ia terminar,
The loggers promised to build us 40 houses, she says, but they have done nothing. The Indians receive a little money, says the chief, but the white people get their money on the Indians' back. They're the ones getting rich.
The Kayapo are in a desperate situation now. They're being forced to do a lot of things that we've been talking about that they don't really want to do. Most communities realize it can't go on.